All the signs point to this. We have new trade rumors about 3 Rams players that Les Snead is considering putting on the block, as well as some key injury reports from players coming out of the bye week heading into next week's game against the Saints. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5K, 5,000 subscribers. If you want to be a part of that journey, make sure to hit that sub button right now and click the notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams. And all of you have been doing really well with that lately. We've gained a good amount of subscribers in the last week, so thank you all for that. And make sure to like this video as well. Week 8 underway here on Sunday. Some crazy games. The Dolphins stunning the Falcons so far. The Broncos beating down on the Cowboys today in dominant fashion. I didn't expect either. Comment down below your craziest game from week 8, this Rams bye week. Obviously, some Rams updates. The Falcons game, that helps us. The Falcons, we have their pick next year, so the more they lose, the better pick we get there. As well as the Niners losing to the Texans. Now the Rams and Seahawks are both ahead of them in the standings heading into that key matchup for right now. Heading into that week 10 key matchup, Rams, Niners, and San Fran. So that's a little Rams update here. But now I have to get into today's main story brought to us by a Ramblin' fan about 3 players that Les Snead is considering putting on the block. Nothing confirmed just yet, but let's get into this right now. And the 5-2 Los Angeles Rams rolled into their Week 8 bye on the back of 2 consecutive and impressive victories. As such, it's easy to see the team is unshakably prepared for the future gauntlet of 10 NFL opponents to close out the season. Yet history tells us a different story. The 2021 version of the Los Angeles Rams started out like a fireball, but the team placed distinguished veteran wide receiver Deshaun Jackson on the trade block before outright cutting him. Personnel changes like pruning a brush are not only understandable. Sometimes it is vital to cut back. Right now, the team may need to consider pruning the roster, to give other contributors enough work to be ready for the postseason. Yeah, I can see that. Deshaun Jackson, for multiple reasons, was put on the trade block, not getting into those ones specifically, but yeah, I definitely can see the Rams making a move, especially for an O-lineman or a corner. I've been saying that in the comments. I do agree. Those are the 2 places that we need to upgrade the most if you want to have a better shot to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, which the Rams definitely do have a chance to do in an NFC that the Eagles don't look as dominant as you would think. The Lions right now are probably the favorite. You got the Bucks if they get healthy. The Rams are up there. Niners are always going to be trouble with Kyle Shanahan in the regular season. The Packers, if they get rolling like they were early in the year as well. So definitely a bit of a more open conference. So you may as well pounce if you get a good deal or you see a player you like that ends up being available. And general manager Les Snead is a riverboat gambler on the November 4th trade deadline. If there is a way to improve the team, he will not only find it, but he will make it happen. As we'd indicated, Los Angeles is thought to be a team seeking cornerback help at the trade deadline. If so, then a subsequent move to create a roster spot could be necessary. Who should the Rams release? Well, there may be another way. Yeah, I think a trade to create potential cap space as well could be good if they bring in more of a star-ish or star-adjacent corner, if that does become available. So we have to see exactly who they would think. O-line as well, potentially, is going to be another spot of upgrade too, as we all have been saying, and this article seems to agree with me. And Les Snead shouldn't hesitate to put these 3 players on the trade block now. Some players need to make way for younger talent, and these are 3 players who could be on the move to make room for talented younger players, and we will get into these players right now. At first on the list is inside linebacker Troy Reeder. It was obvious in week 6 that rookie inside linebacker Sean Dolak is ready for a larger role on the defensive side of the football. He competed with the veteran Troy Reeder, but he was clearly the more impactful defender in Omer Spates' absence. Now the team must figure out a way to ensure Dolak sees more playing time. One guaranteed way to do that is to trade Reeder at the trade deadline for a make us an offer asking price. It won't swallow the coffers with draft picks, but the on-field benefit could warrant it. Several teams would benefit from a veteran linebacker. LA is simply no longer among them. Yeah, again, Troy Reeder we're not the biggest fan of here in the comments section. I understand why. Not the best tackling in space and covering in the pass game. And he does have 12 tackles on the year in 7 games as a non-starter, which isn't bad. But yes, all of you in the comments were early on Sean Dolak. I warmed up to him, and he is an awesome player. He definitely needs more playing time, and really can kind of interchange that linebacking trio of Dolak, Spates and Landman being the leader right now. Landman looking like he should get a nice payday from the Rams coming up. He deserves it with the way he's been playing throughout this year. One of the leaders of this defense. So I can see Reeder being moved. Again, you hope you get a 5th round pick, 6th round pick, something like that. You just want more than a 7th. Trading him for a 7th, I don't think is really worth it, because at that point you should just release him. But if you can get a 5th, I would say to do it. Then again, maybe then you would only have 3 real inside linebackers as well. So you would maybe have to, if you have someone on the practice squad or there's someone on the waiver wire as well that you can bring in to replace that. Because only carrying 3 inside linebackers is a dangerous game in the NFL. So that would definitely be, I agree that Dolak is better, but if you don't get a trade for more than a 7th and you don't see a replacement, because again, carrying 3 with injury risk in the NFL, I don't necessarily like for the Rams, but I do agree that Dolak needs more playing time, and trading Reeder would be a way to do that. And next on the list is running back Blake Corum. I know Josh was on this yesterday, so we're going to move through this pretty quickly. Surprisingly, the speculative trade suggestion for Baltimore Ravens running back Derrick Henry was warmly received by Ravens fans. In the proposed exchange, I had purposefully included former Michigan running back Blake Corum as part of the trade for Henry, and multiple Ravens fans liked the idea. Corum was a star for the Michigan Wolverines head coach Jim Harbaugh, brother of Ravens coach John Harbaugh. As such, many Ravens fans hold Corum in high regard despite his modest production for LA. Right now, Corum is keeping rookie running back Jarquez Hunter on the bench. If the offer is right, perhaps the team should sell high. Yeah, that's what I've written down here, included in a Derrick Henry trade. I talked about this on Friday, as well. So if you missed that, go back. That was the main point of Friday's video. And again, if it's only Blake Corum in a 3rd or a 4th, I think you have to do it. I think it's a good trade for Derrick Henry. Henry and Kyren could be your 1-2, and you have Jarquez Hunter come in for a couple carries a game. Potentially, I really think that trade is worth it for the Rams. If the Ravens fans seem to like it, they did win today. And you have Lamar coming back against the Dolphins on Thursday, who looked great today, but we have to see if that'll translate. So again, if the Ravens do beat the Dolphins, you're at the 3-5 mark, and you're feeling like you have an outside shot still, especially given the Ravens' schedule for these next couple of games before they have a gauntlet to end the year. So if you don't think, if you're the Ravens GM, Eric DeCosta, that you can go through that gauntlet and come back to make the playoffs, then I would say to trade Derrick Henry, because he's getting older, he's a veteran. We keep saying he's getting older, and he keeps on playing well, so maybe that doesn't even matter to him. He's defying running back aging so far right now. So again, you probably aren't going to re-sign him just because he's going to want to be at a place where he can win. He thought that was the Ravens. The Ravens, even if they make the playoffs, I don't think are going to do much in there. So I could definitely see the Ravens trading Derrick Henry, and Blake Corum being a part of that makes sense. I wouldn't trade Blake Corum for just a 4th round pick. That's not worth it. You want to get a player in return, and if you can get a Derrick Henry caliber player, oh yeah, do it. I totally agree if they can get that in return. In the thumbnail of this video, Tutu Atwell wide receiver. While it's not wide receiver Tutu Atwell's fault that he has disappeared almost entirely from the offense this season, the fact remains. Atwell was believed to be ready for a larger role in this offense. Instead, he is no more than an afterthought. He is still a dangerous receiver, and in the right offense with enough work, could be a solid contributor. He simply doesn't fit what the offense is all about. At least not like rookie wide receiver Konate Mumpfield. Yeah, I agree. We got a Tutu stats written down here. 4 catches, 164 yards, and 1 touchdown. At a $10 million salary, that's not cutting it. You know, OT Genesis once said that price is way too high, you need to cut it, and for Tutu Atwell, this contract is way too high, and I think the Rams need to trade it. So I definitely think it is a good trade. Again, you can maybe get a decent pick here. Maybe you can get a 4th. You may have to attach a late round pick to Tutu, kind of like in an NBA trade where you sometimes have to attach a pick to get rid of a bad contract. And Tutu Atwell, I'm not going to sit up here and say he's a bad NFL player. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more so of the scheme. He's only had 6 total targets. I mean, he basically sealed the game against the Colts. We had some up from A.D. Mitchell again. Thank you, A.D. Mitchell. But yet again, Tutu Atwell was great for that one play. He was awesome. And you see how he can impact the game for certain teams that need a more deep threat wide receiver. The Rams don't really need that. The Rams have great runners after the catch. Terrence Ferguson has actually shown to be a pretty good deep ball wide receiver. I know it's only been a couple targets, but he's delivered that, and I think has a higher ceiling than Tutu overall. So for Tutu, you may have to eat the rest of the salary because it's only 1 year. So if you have to eat whatever is left, it's going to be around probably $4.5 million at that time. Then so be it. But I definitely think it is worth it to trade Tutu. Again, this contract's way too high. You need to trade it. It's not worth releasing him because you're still going to have to pay the dead money if you do release him. So I think you have to trade him. He's a thumbnail because I think this is the most likely one to happen. I mean, for Blake Corum, again, if it's not for Derrick Henry, I wouldn't do it. But for Tutu, I think you could potentially even get a fourth because the receiver market is high. We've seen wide receivers get traded for a lot. Obviously, he's not Tyreek Hill caliber, but you saw Tyreek Hill go for, I believe it was 3 firsts or 2 firsts. Comment that down below. I forget exactly, but I know it was multiple first-round picks. But for Tutu, you can get a decent mid-round pick for him, and teams would like to have him who need to improve their passing game. So it's definitely a possibility, but I would definitely trade Tutu. If you're trying to, again, create the cap space to bring in a corner, Tutu is that guy. Because 5 receivers is enough to carry. You got guys on the practice squad, too, if you need to bring someone up. So I definitely think Tutu is the most likely out of this bunch to get traded, and I agree that it should happen sooner rather than later. And must the team make these moves? Well, the Rams are winning without them, so the answer is no. But at the trade deadline, the team could emerge with a more robust roster by creating opportunities for younger players who desperately need the work. It's a strategy that not many fans will embrace, but it could be successful. I embrace it for Tutu Atwell for sure. I think it's necessary, so I see that happening pretty much as a certainty. Again, not confirmed yet, but I think it would be good for Tutu to get a change of scenery, to really revamp his career. Comment down below right now your thoughts on all of these trades and what you would do and why, or any other names on this Rams team that you think could be moved that have some value that could maybe help us get a corner or an O-lineman. Comment that down below right now. I think Tutu is the one to most likely get traded, but leave it down below in the comments. I want to know. And out of our second story of the day, we got some key injury updates heading into week 9 matchup against the Saints next week, and this is from Rams Wire, and we will get into this story right now. The LA Rams have been pretty lucky through the first 7 weeks of their 2025 campaign, with only a few players missing significant time due to injuries, which has helped them put together a 5-2 record that has them in a 3-way tie for the top spot in the NFC West as they enter their bye week, now a 2-way tie with the Seahawks, who are also on a bye. So far this year, the Rams have placed just 2 players on IR, linebacker Kyren Thomas and cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon. However, because Thomas was placed on IR before week 1, he's not eligible to return unless the two sides come to a settlement and then the team releases him. Yeah, Kyren Thomas is not coming back this year, but we do have an update on Witherspoon that we're going to get into right now. Witherspoon, on the other hand, suffered a broken clavicle in the team's Week 2 battle with the Titans at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. While he didn't have surgery, Rams head coach Sean McVay indicated that he'd risk roughly 12 weeks. That would put his return around Week 15. Yeah, we'll see if it is any earlier, again, as the month of November goes on, especially once we get towards Thanksgiving, if he's back at practice early. I would like to see that. If the Rams can't get a corner that they like, I wouldn't be surprised if Witherspoon does try to push his way back. And if he is healing ahead of schedule, I definitely think he should come back earlier because he was so good through the first game and a half of this season. Made the secondary look amazing. He made Emmanuel Forbes look pretty good too. So if the Rams can't get someone that can make a key impact. Kyren Williams, by the way, has been doing a pretty good job in his absence. He's really revived his value and really his career because it looked like he was going to be out the door pretty quickly, and he, over the last few games, has been a lot better than he was to start off the year. So that's a good sign for him as well. But Witherspoon coming back hopefully early December, so we can get at least 4 games before this playoff run, which would be key that the Rams hope to go on. And having their top cornerback on the field would obviously be a huge boost for Chris Shula's defense, but they've done well without him for 7 weeks. On top of Witherspoon's eventual return, the Rams could get wide receiver Puka Nacua and offensive tackle Rob Havenstein back sooner. Nacua missed the team's Week 7 meeting with the Jaguars after suffering an ankle injury the week prior. With a couple weeks to rest and recover, he could be back for the team's Week 9 matchup with the Saints next Sunday. Yeah, my guess is that he will be. I didn't anticipate this being a multi-week injury for Puka that he'll have to miss multiple games. They didn't say it was a high ankle sprain. They said it was a regular sprain, and with him having the bye, missing the game. I would foresee him being back. Obviously, throughout the week, we're going to have a pre-game covered for this game, and this is definitely going to be a key storyline, whether Puka Nacua can play or not in this game. But I do foresee it happening. I'm sure a lot of you fantasy football players who have Puka on your roster are looking for this one as well, that he doesn't miss multiple weeks. So I would see him returning most likely in this game, but it has yet to be determined. And Havenstein hasn't played in LA's last 3 games due to ankle injuries, while Warren McClendon Jr. has been serviceable filling in. The Rams would like to get him back on the field against New Orleans. Yeah, this one's more of a question. Havenstein getting older. This could be his last year in the league, and he's been very injured over the last few years. Still good when healthy, but yeah, McClendon, I talked about it last video, has been awesome in his place. So there's definitely a chance that even if he is back, it's more of a platoon role at that tackle position. So we have to wait and see. And both of those are going to be key. I mean, again, the Saints defense, Demario Davis is still doing it. Cam Jordan is still doing it at both decently high levels. So, you got to be ready for that heading into next week's game against the Saints. And hopefully, while Warren McClendon's been good, you want both of those guys healthy so you can keep fresh linemen coming in and out. And obviously for Puka, the Saints secondary, I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry had that monster game against the Giants a few weeks ago when they had the 5 turnovers and they lost that game. But besides that, their secondary is not very good, so I don't see the Puka injury being a huge deal against the Saints. Again, I think the Rams did get... Obviously, the Rams had a good game plan, but if Devin Lloyd was out there, I definitely think for the Jaguars that game would have been a lot closer. So going against a different team in the Saints will be interesting to see if Puka Nacua does get out there. And comment down below right now your thoughts on this as well. I want to know. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We're on the road to 5K, 5,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of the journey, hit that sub button and click that notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams so you do not miss a beat this NFL season. And like this video right now for Week 8 being underway, almost done here. We got, right as I'm recording this, the Packers and Steelers game, the revenge game for Aaron Rodgers starting up right now here in Monday night. Commanders-Chiefs should be an interesting game as well. And Josh and I should be back streaming as well for the game Sunday, November 2nd. Going to be on early afternoon around the 12:50 start time for that home game against the Saints. So stay tuned for that. Like this video for us as well, coming back to the streams after this bye week. And comment down below as well what you think about the trade ideas I proposed. And if you would have any players on the Rams right now that you think could be traded or have some value, leave that down below in the comments as well. And your thoughts on the injury updates. I'm sure we'll get more from Sean McVay as this week goes on as well. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh. As always, thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one. Enjoy Sunday Night Football, and have a great rest of your day.